Hey there, welcome in. I'm here with you tonight to help you relax and unwind. I know many of you listen to these stories as you fall asleep. Before you get cozy, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And let me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. I always enjoy hearing from you. Now, get comfortable. Story 1. The boy walked into the police station at exactly 8:42 p.m. He wasn't crying. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't even looking around like someone lost. He walked straight up to the front desk and said, "I want to report my murder." The officer on duty laughed at first. "You're what?" The boy didn't smile, didn't blink, didn't react at all. "My murder," he repeated calmly. That's when Inspector Zara Qureshi, sitting across the room, looked up. Something about the boy's voice, steady, cold, certain, cut through the noise like a blade. She stood, walked over slowly, knelt down in front of him. "How old are you?" she asked. 13. "What's your name?" "Daniel." Zara studied him carefully. No visible injuries. No signs of distress. Clothes clean. Hands steady. "You said you want to report your murder," she said gently. "Can you explain that?" The boy nodded, like he had been waiting for that exact question. "I'm going to die tomorrow night," he said. The room went quiet. Zara didn't react immediately. Years of experience had taught her one thing: never dismiss something too quickly. "Why do you think that?" she asked. "I don't think," Daniel said. "I remember." A pause. A long one. Zara leaned in slightly. "Remember what?" "My death," he said. Now the room wasn't just quiet. It was heavy. The officer behind the desk stopped typing. Someone in the back coughed awkwardly. Zara kept her voice calm. "Tell me everything." Daniel sat down in the chair across from her, folded his hands neatly in his lap, and began. "It happens at night," he said. "Late. Around 11:30. "Where?" Zara asked. "My house." "Who's there?" He hesitated, for the first time, then said quietly, "Someone I know." Zara's eyes sharpened. "Family?" Silence. Daniel looked down at his hands. "I don't see their face clearly," he said, "but I know them. I feel it." A chill ran down Zara's spine. "Tell me what happens," she said. Daniel took a slow breath. "I'm in my room. I hear footsteps in the hallway. Then my door opens. They don't turn on the light. They just stand there." Zara leaned forward. "Then what?" "They come closer," Daniel said. His voice didn't shake, didn't break, but something in his eyes changed. "They sit next to me on the bed. And they say..." He stopped. Zara waited. The entire station seemed to hold its breath. "They say I shouldn't have told anyone." Zara's stomach tightened. Told anyone what? Daniel looked up, directly at her. "You." A cold silence swallowed the room. Zara blinked. "What do you mean?" "You," Daniel repeated. "I came here. I told you. That's why it changes." "Changes?" He nodded slowly. "The first time. I didn't tell anyone. And I still died." Zara's pulse quickened. "And now?" "Now I told you," he said. "So it's different." "How?" Daniel's voice dropped to a whisper. "They are angrier." Zara sat back slowly. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't imagination. This was something else. "Daniel," she said carefully, "has anything like this happened before? Dreams? Visions?" He shook his head. "No, this isn't a dream." "Then what is it?" Daniel's answer came instantly. "A memory." Zara stood abruptly. "Get his address," she told the officer, "and call his parents." Then she turned back to Daniel. "You're not going home tonight," she said. Daniel frowned. "That won't work." "Why not?" "Because it doesn't matter where I am," he said. Zara froze. "What do you mean?" Daniel tilted his head slightly. "They'll find me." A sudden noise echoed through the station. A loud bang from the hallway. Everyone turned. A door had slammed shut on its own. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. Zara looked back at Daniel. He was staring at something behind her. His face had gone pale. For the first time since he arrived. He looked afraid. "Daniel," she said slowly. His voice trembled. They are early. Zara turned around sharply. The hallway was empty. Silent. Still. When she turned back, Daniel was gone. The chair was empty. The front door was still closed. No one had seen him leave. And on the desk where he had been sitting was a small piece of paper. Zara picked it up with shaking hands. 3 words were written on it, in handwriting that wasn't his. 11:30 p.m. Zara checked the clock on the wall. 11:12 p.m. Her blood ran cold. Because that meant one thing. She had less than 20 minutes to stop a murder that had already happened. The clock ticked louder than it should have. 11:12 p.m. Zara stared at it, her mind racing faster than her pulse. 20 minutes. That's all she had. 20 minutes to stop a murder that, if the boy was telling the truth, had already happened. Lock down the station, she snapped. The officers hesitated. You heard me. No one in or out. Check every room. That boy didn't walk out of here. He couldn't have. The room erupted into motion. Chairs scraped. Radios buzzed. Boots pounded across the floor. But Zara already knew what they would find. Nothing. She grabbed the paper again. 11:30 p.m. Her eyes flicked to the CCTV monitor behind the desk. Rewind the footage, she ordered. The technician scrambled, pulling up the last 5 minutes. Zara leaned in. The screen showed the front desk. Showed Daniel sitting in the chair. Showed her talking to him. Then, static. A sudden glitch. Just for half a second. Then the footage returned. The chair was empty. Daniel was gone. Zara's stomach dropped. Pause it, she said. The technician froze the frame. Zara stepped closer. Zoom in. The image sharpened. And that's when she saw it. A shadow. Standing behind her. Right where Daniel had been sitting. Tall. Distorted. And gone in the next frame. Zara stepped back slowly. The technician whispered. She didn't answer. Because now she believed him. Get me his address. Now. It's already coming through, the officer said, holding up a file. Zara snatched it. Daniel Ahmed. Age 13. Sector 9. House 17. She turned immediately. I'm going there. I'll come with you. No, she cut in sharply. This wasn't procedure anymore. This was something else. Something wrong. 11:16 p.m. Zara sped through the empty streets, sirens off. Her mind replayed every word Daniel had said. It doesn't matter where I am, they'll find me. They are angrier now. You. A chill ran through her. He hadn't just come to report his murder. He had come to warn her. 11:22 p.m. She pulled up outside the house. Lights were on. Normal. Too normal. Zara stepped out, hand instinctively moving to her weapon. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a storm breaks. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again, harder. Still nothing. Then she heard it. From inside. A faint sound. Footsteps. Zara didn't wait. She forced the door open. The living room was empty. TV on. Muted. A cartoon playing to no one. Police, she called out. Is anyone here? No response. Then, a voice. Upstairs. You shouldn't have told her. Zara froze. That voice. It wasn't Daniel. It was older, colder, and filled with something that made her skin crawl. She moved toward the stairs. Slowly, carefully. Each step creaked beneath her weight. 11:26 p.m. 4 minutes left. At the top of the stairs, the hallway stretched into darkness. One door was open. Light spilling out. Daniel's room. Zara approached, heart pounding. Inside, Daniel sat on the bed, exactly as he had described. Head down. Still. Zara exhaled in relief. Daniel. He lifted his head, and Zara stopped. His eyes were wide, terrified. You came, he whispered. I told you I would, she said, stepping closer. He shook his head. No, you weren't supposed to. Zara frowned. What do you mean? Daniel's voice trembled. It changed again. Zara's chest tightened. How? Daniel looked past her, toward the hallway. They're not alone anymore. Zara turned. The hallway was empty, but the air had changed. It felt crowded, heavy, like something unseen was filling the space. Then, footsteps. Not one pair. Many. Slow. Deliberate. Coming closer. Zara grabbed Daniel's arm. "We're leaving. Now." They rushed toward the door. But it slammed shut. On its own. Zara yanked the handle. "Locked." "No," Daniel whispered. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. And in that darkness, a voice spoke. Right behind them. Too late. Zara spun around. Gun raised. But there was nothing there. Then Daniel screamed. Zara turned back. And saw it. A shape. Standing behind him. Not fully visible. But there. Watching. Waiting. Zara fired. The gunshot echoed violently in the small room. The shape didn't move. Didn't react. It just leaned closer to Daniel and whispered something in his ear. Daniel's scream cut off instantly. Silence. Then, he collapsed. Zara lunged forward, catching him before he hit the floor. "Daniel, stay with me." No response. His body was limp. Cold. Too cold. Zara's hands trembled as she checked his pulse. Nothing. Her breath caught. No, 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 no. The room was silent again. The presence gone. Like it had never been there. Zara slowly looked up. The clock on the wall. 11:30 p.m. Exactly. Her chest tightened. She had been here. She had tried. And it still happened. Just like he said. Then her phone buzzed. Slowly, she pulled it out. New voicemail. Time received. 11:30 p.m. Her hands shook as she pressed play. Static. Then Daniel's voice. Soft. Broken. "I told you, it wouldn't matter." A pause. Then something else spoke. That same voice. Cold. Close. "Now you understand." The line went dead. Zara stood frozen in the dark room, holding the body of a boy, who had tried to warn her about his own murder, and failed. But deep down, she knew the truth. This wasn't over, because whatever had killed Daniel had wanted her to see it, to understand it, and maybe, to become part of it. Zara didn't remember leaving the house. One moment, she was kneeling on Daniel's bedroom floor, his lifeless body in her arms. The next, she was sitting in her car, engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles had turned white. Her phone lay on the passenger seat, the voicemail still open, still waiting to be played again. She didn't touch it. She couldn't, because deep down, she already knew what it would say. 3:10 a.m. Back at the station, everything felt different. Quieter, heavier, like something unseen had followed her inside. The officers moved carefully around her, whispering. No one asked questions. They had seen her face, and they knew something had gone very, very wrong. Zara walked straight to her desk and dropped the case file. "Pull every missing child report from the last 10 years, she said. The officer blinked. 10 years? Yes. Ages 12 to 15. Any unusual circumstances? Any similarities? What are we looking for?" Zara paused, then said quietly, "Kids who knew they were going to die." By sunrise, the files were stacked across her desk. Dozens of cases. Then hundreds. Too many. Most were ordinary tragedies. Runaways. Accidents. Unsolved abductions. But a few stood out. Case number 47. A 14-year-old girl named Mihak. Reported missing in 2018. Last thing she told her mother. Don't let him in tonight. Case number 112. A boy named Usman. Age 13. Disappeared from his home. Left behind a note. He comes after midnight. Case number 203. Twin brothers. Both claimed they saw something watching them through the hallway mirror. Both gone within 48 hours. Zara's chest tightened as she read through each file. The pattern was undeniable. They all knew. Not guessed. Not feared. Knew. And no one had believed them. Until now. She grabbed Daniel's file again. Something about his words echoed in her mind. The first time. I didn't tell anyone. Now I told you, so it changed. Zara's breath caught. The first time, she whispered. That wasn't just fear talking. That was memory. But not a normal one. A memory of something that hadn't happened yet. Or had it? She stood abruptly. Get me CCTV from every case location, she ordered. Especially the last 24 hours before disappearance. Hours later, she sat in the DAC surveillance room. Screens flickering one by one. Grainy footage. Silent hallways. Empty rooms. Then, she saw it. Case number 47. Mihak's house. 2:03 a.m. A figure standing at the end of the hallway. Too tall. Too still. It didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stood there, watching the girl's bedroom door. Zara leaned closer. Zoom in, she whispered. The image sharpened, and her blood ran cold. Because the figure wasn't just standing there. It was glitching, flickering in and out, like it wasn't fully real. Next footage, she said quickly. Case number 112. Usman's home. 1:47 a.m. Same hallway, same angle, and the same figure. Standing, waiting. Zara felt her pulse quicken. It's the same, she whispered. Not similar. Not close. The exact same shape. Then came Daniel's house footage. Zara hesitated before pressing play. 11:28 p.m. The hallway outside his room. Empty. Then, static. A flicker. And suddenly, it was there, standing right outside his door. Closer than before. Clearer than before. Zara leaned forward, heart pounding. This time, she could see more. Not a face, but something worse. Its outline shifted, changed, like it couldn't decide what it was supposed to look like. And then, it moved. For the first time. Slowly, it tilted its head. Toward the camera. Toward her. Zara froze. Because in that moment, she knew. It could see her. Not the camera. Her. The screen went black. Zara stumbled back in her chair. No, she whispered. Her mind raced, piecing everything together. The children didn't just know about their deaths. They were remembering encounters with that thing. Something that existed. Outside of time. It didn't follow rules. Didn't wait. Didn't hunt in a straight line. It watched. Then chose. Then returned. Again. And again. Until it got what it wanted. Zara grabbed the desk for support. Why them? She whispered. No answer. But deep down, she felt it. The truth forming. They are not random, she said slowly. They are learning. The officer beside her frowned. Who is? Zara turned to him. Eyes wide. Not who, she said. What? Her phone buzzed again. Slowly. She looked down. New voicemail. Time received. 2:17 a.m. Her breath caught. That was the same time as the first call. The very beginning. With trembling hands, she pressed play. Static. Then, her own voice. I see it now. Zara's heart stopped. It's not killing them. A pause. Then, quietly, it's choosing them. The line went dead. Zara dropped the phone. Because that meant only one thing. She wasn't just investigating this anymore. She was part of it. And somewhere, that thing had already chosen its next victim. Zara didn't sleep. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it. That shape in the hallway. That unnatural stillness. That moment when it tilted its head and looked directly at her. Not at the camera. At her. By morning, the station felt suffocating. Too many whispers. Too many eyes on her. Too many unanswered questions. But Zara wasn't interested in questions anymore. She needed answers. And she had a feeling she already knew where to find them. Get me psychological profiles on every victim, she ordered. The officer hesitated. You think this is psychological? Zara didn't look at him. No, she said quietly. I think it uses psychology. Hours later, files covered her desk again. This time, not just names and dates, but lives. Personal histories. School reports. Behavioral notes. And slowly, a pattern began to emerge. Every single victim shared one thing. Not location. Not background. Not even family structure. It was something deeper. Something buried. They had all experienced fear. But not ordinary fear. Each one had faced something they never told anyone about. A secret. A moment. A memory they had buried so deep. They thought it was gone. Zara flipped through Daniel's file again. There it was. A note from a school counselor. Subject reported recurring nightmares at age 9. Refuses to discuss details. Displays signs of suppressed trauma. Zara's hands stilled. Not random, she whispered. It's selecting them. She stood abruptly. It doesn't choose victims. It chooses secrets. The room fell silent. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The children didn't just know they were going to die. They remembered being watched, studied, chosen, long before the final night. Zara's chest tightened. Because that meant one thing. It had been watching Daniel for years. And it had waited. Until the perfect moment. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't want to look. But she did. Another voicemail. No timestamp this time. Just a blank entry. Her hands trembled as she pressed play. Static. Then, breathing. Slow. Heavy. Zara froze. Because she recognized it. That breathing. It wasn't coming from the recording. It was coming from behind her. She turned slowly. The office was empty. Lights flickering softly. Silent. But the breathing continued. Closer now. Right behind her shoulder. Zara didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't even blink. Then the voice came. Right next to her ear. Now you understand. Zara spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. But the message was clear. It wasn't hiding anymore. It wanted her to know. That night, Zara returned home for the first time in 2 days. Her apartment felt different. Too quiet. Too still. Like something had been waiting for her. She stepped inside slowly. Every instinct on edge. The lights flickered once. Then steadied. Zara exhaled, trying to calm herself. This isn't real, she whispered. But even as she said it, she knew it was. She walked into her bedroom. And stopped. Because something was wrong. The mirror. It was facing the bed. She never left it like that. Slowly. She stepped closer. Her reflection stared back at her. Tired. Pale. Shaking. Then, it blinked. Zara froze. Because she hadn't. Her reflection smiled. Slowly. Deliberately. And whispered, "You were always going to be next." Zara stumbled back, heart racing. The mirror shattered. Glass exploding across the room. And in the fragments, for just a second, she saw it. Standing behind her. Closer than ever. Watching. Waiting. Zara collapsed against the wall, breath shaking. Her mind raced through everything she had learned. The victims. The patterns. The secrets. And then, the realization hit her. Hard. Fast. Unavoidable. It doesn't just choose them, she whispered. It chooses the ones who can see it. Her stomach dropped. Because now, she could see it. And that meant, it had already chosen her. Her phone buzzed one last time. She didn't need to look. She already knew what she would see. Another voicemail. Another memory. Another death. That hadn't happened yet. Zara didn't play the voicemail. Not immediately. She stood in the middle of her shattered bedroom, glass crunching beneath her boots, breathing hard, trying to convince herself that what she had just seen wasn't real. But that lie didn't last long. Because deep down, she already knew. This wasn't new. It just felt new. Her eyes drifted slowly to the broken mirror. Fragments of herself stared back from the floor. Dozens of reflections. Dozens of different angles. And in one of them, she saw it again. Standing behind her. Zara spun around. Nothing. Silence. But her chest tightened. Because something had changed. It wasn't hiding anymore. And neither was the truth. Her phone buzzed again. Still in her hand. Still waiting. This time, she pressed play. Static. Then a voice. Not Daniel's. Not hers. Someone else. A child. Soft. Familiar. Why didn't you tell anyone? Zara froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Because she recognized that voice. Even after all these years. Even after trying so hard to forget it. It was her own. The recording continued. You saw it first. You knew it was there. Zara shook her head slowly. No, she whispered. But the voice didn't stop. You promised you'd never talk about it. The room felt smaller. Darker. Heavier. And that's why it chose you. The line went dead. Zara dropped the phone. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably now. Because the memory was coming back. Not all at once. But in pieces. Sharp. Violent. Impossible to ignore. She was 8 years old. Standing in her childhood home. The hallway was dark. Her parents asleep. Everything quiet. Too quiet. Then she saw it. At the end of the hallway. A figure. Tall. Still. Watching her. She remembered the fear. The kind that freezes you in place. The kind that doesn't let you scream. And then, it moved. Just slightly. Tilting its head. Exactly the way it had in the footage. Zara staggered backward, clutching her head. No, no, I would remember that. But she did. She always had. She had just buried it. Because what happened next was worse. It spoke to her. Not out loud. Not with words. But she understood it anyway. Don't tell. And she hadn't. Not her parents. Not anyone. She had locked it away. Forgotten it. Moved on. Until now. Zara collapsed onto the edge of her bed, breathing hard. That's why, she whispered. That's why I can see it. Her voice cracked. That's why it chose me. Because she had seen it before. And survived. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she didn't hesitate. She picked it up immediately. Another voicemail. Another memory. She pressed play. Static. Then, a different voice. Older. Stronger. Her own. It doesn't just come once. Zara's eyes widened. It watches you grow. Her breathing slowed. Waits for the moment you understand it. A pause. Then. And then it comes back to finish it. The line went dead. Zara sat in silence. Because now she understood everything. The victims weren't random. They were marked. Years before their deaths. As children. The thing didn't just kill. It waited. It let them grow. Let them forget. And then, when they finally remembered, when they finally saw it clearly, that's when it came back, to finish what it started. Zara stood slowly. Her fear was still there. But now, something else had replaced it. Understanding. It's not just hunting, she said quietly. It's completing something. Her mind raced. Daniel. The other victims. Herself. They were all part of a pattern. A cycle. And cycles could be broken. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. One final voicemail. This one had no timestamp. No caller ID. Just a single line of text beneath it. Tonight. Zara's grip tightened. Because she didn't need to ask what that meant. Her time had come. She picked up her gun. Checked the chamber. Steady hands now. Focused. If it started with me, she whispered, then it ends with me. Outside, the lights flickered across the city. Somewhere in the darkness, something was watching, waiting, for the moment she would finally face it. And this time, there would be no running. The city felt different that night. Not quieter, not darker, just aware. Like every streetlight, every window, every shadow was watching her. Waiting. Zara stepped out of her apartment building with one thought locked in her mind. It ends tonight. But deep down, she knew something far worse. This wasn't the end. This was exactly where it wanted her. Her phone read 10:58 p.m. 32 minutes. That was all the time left before it would come for her. Just like it had come for Daniel. Just like it had come for all the others. But this time, she wasn't going to wait. She was going to find it first. Zara drove without a clear destination. Not consciously. But something inside her was guiding her. A pull. A memory she hadn't realized she still had. The roads became unfamiliar. Then empty. Then abandoned. And finally, she stopped. An old neighborhood. Faded houses. Broken streetlights. And one house at the end of the road. Her childhood home. Zara's breath caught. No, she whispered. She hadn't been here in years. Hadn't wanted to be. But now she understood why she had come back. Because this was where it started. The front door creaked open with a soft push. The smell hit her instantly. Dust. Time. And something else. Something familiar. The hallway stretched before her. Dark. Silent. Exactly the way she remembered it. Her chest tightened. Because at the end of that hallway was where she had seen it for the first time. Her phone buzzed. She didn't look at it. She didn't need to. She already knew what it was. Another reminder. Another countdown. Zara stepped forward, each footstep echoing softly. The air grew colder, heavier. Then she stopped, because it was already there, standing exactly where she remembered, at the end of the hallway. The same shape, tall, unnatural, still. For a moment, neither of them moved. Zara raised her gun slowly, her voice steady. "I know what you are now." The figure didn't react, didn't move, but something shifted. The air vibrated slightly, like reality itself was responding to it. "You choose them," Zara continued. "You mark them when they are children, then come back when they remember." Her finger tightened on the trigger. But why? For the first time, it moved, slowly, tilting its head. And then, it stepped forward. Zara fired. The gunshot echoed violently through the house, but the bullet passed straight through it. Like it wasn't even there. It kept coming. Unstoppable. Unreal. Zara stepped back, her breath quickening. "What are you?" she demanded. And then, it answered, not with sound, not with words, but directly inside her mind. "We remember." Zara froze. Her heart slammed against her ribs. "We," she whispered. The figure moved closer, and as it did, its shape began to change. Shift. Distort. Faces. Dozens of them. Flickering across its surface. Children. Teenagers. All the victims. Zara staggered back in horror. "No. We are what remains." The voices overlapped. Layered. Broken. "We are what they forgot." Zara's mind raced, trying to understand, trying to make sense of something that refused to follow logic. "You're not killing them," she said slowly, her voice trembling. "You're taking them." The figure stopped, right in front of her now, closer than ever, and for the first time, she saw its face. Not one face. Many. Stacked. Twisted together. And at the center of it, her own. Zara gasped, stumbling backward. "No. You were always part of us." Her head spun. "No. I survived." "No." The voice grew louder, stronger. "You delayed." Zara's breath caught. And then, it showed her, the memory, clearer than ever before. That night, when she was 8, standing in the hallway, seeing it for the first time. But this time, she saw something she hadn't remembered. She didn't walk away. She didn't survive. It had touched her, and something had changed. Zara collapsed to her knees, her hands shaking violently. "You marked me," she whispered. "We chose you." Her mind fractured under the weight of it. All this time, she hadn't escaped. She had been waiting, growing, becoming. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't need to look. She already knew. 11:30 p.m. The time had come. Zara looked up at the thing, at the faces, at herself, and finally understood the truth. This wasn't a hunt. It was a transformation. And she was next. Zara couldn't breathe. Not because something was choking her, but because something inside her had begun to change. She knelt on the cold floor of her childhood home, staring up at the thing that wasn't just a thing anymore. It had a voice. It had memories. And now, it had her. 11:30 p.m. The exact moment Daniel had died. The exact moment every victim had been taken. And now it was her turn. Zara forced herself to stand. Her legs trembled, but she didn't fall. "Not yet. You're not taking me," she said. Her voice wasn't as steady as she wanted it to be. But it didn't break. The entity didn't move. Didn't need to. "You misunderstand." The voice wasn't just in her head anymore. It echoed around her, inside the walls, inside her bones. "We are not taking you." Zara clenched her fists. "Then what is this?" The air thickened. The shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls. "You are joining." Zara shook her head violently. "No." But even as she said it, a reflection in a broken shard of glass twitched. A split second too late. Her stomach dropped. "No." Her fingers moved, but not by her command. Slowly, they lifted, twisting slightly, like something else was learning how to use them. Zara gasped, yanking her hand back. What are you doing to me? Showing you. The entity stepped closer. Closer than it ever had before. And this time, Zara didn't step back. Because she couldn't. Her feet wouldn't move. Why me? She whispered. For a moment, the voices went quiet. Then, softly, because you saw us and you understood. Zara's eyes filled with disbelief. I was 8 years old. Exactly. The word hit harder than anything else. Because suddenly, it made sense. All the others had been afraid. They had run, hidden, denied what they saw. But Zara, she hadn't just been afraid. She had watched. She had thought about it. She had understood something was wrong. And that had made her different. That had made her valuable. You don't want victims, she said slowly. You want minds. The entity didn't answer immediately. But the silence confirmed it. Zara swallowed hard. You're not a killer, she said. You're a collector. The air shifted. The shadows pulsed slightly. Almost like approval. We preserve. The voices overlapped again. We remember what should not be forgotten. Zara's breath caught. What does that mean? And then, it showed her. Not memories. Not exactly. More like fragments. Pieces of something larger. Children. Alone in the dark. Afraid. Not of monsters under their beds. But of something deeper. Something real. Moments the world ignored. Moments no one believed. Moments that were buried. Forgotten. Erased. We keep what the world refuses. Zara's heart pounded. You're saying, you're saving them. The entity moved closer again. Now only inches away. We are saving the truth. Zara shook her head. No, no, you're killing them. The voices rose. Not angry. But firm. Unshakable. Their bodies end. Their minds remain. Zara's vision blurred. Because now, she could feel them. Inside it. All those voices. All those thoughts. Still there. Still aware. They are not gone, she whispered. No. Her chest tightened. They are trapped. The entity didn't answer. And that was answer enough. Zara took a shaky step back. Her mind racing. Her options collapsing in on themselves. If she fought, she would die. If she ran, it would follow. If she resisted, it would take her anyway. But if she accepted, she would become part of it. Forever. Zara looked at the faces again. The children. Daniel. All of them. Watching her. Waiting. And then, she saw something else. Something small. Something hidden. A flicker of fear. Inside them. They're not at peace, she said. The entity stilled. They are still scared. The silence that followed was different. Heavier. Uncertain. For the first time. It didn't have control. Zara stepped forward. Her fear still there. But something stronger now. Determination. You're not preserving them, she said. You're trapping them in the moment they were most afraid. The shadows trembled. The voices shifted. Not unified anymore. Not stable. Zara realized something then. Something important. It wasn't perfect. It could be broken. You need them, she said. You need their fear, their memories, to exist. The entity didn't deny it. Zara's heart pounded harder. Because now she had a choice. A real one. She could let it take her. Or she could try to destroy it from the inside. The risk was obvious. If she was wrong, she would lose herself forever. But if she was right, she could end it. For everyone. Zara closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. I'll join you, she said. The voices fell silent. The entity leaned closer. You choose this. Zara opened her eyes. Steady. Certain. Yes. But inside, she made a different promise. I'm going to tear you apart. The entity reached out, its form shifting, expanding, consuming. And as it touched her, Zara felt herself slipping, falling into something vast, something endless, something filled with voices, screaming voices. Her last thought before everything went dark was simple. This is where it ends, or where something far worse begins. At first, there was nothing. No light, no sound, no body, just an endless, suffocating silence. Then, a whisper. Help me. Zara's eyes snapped open. Or at least, it felt like they did. Because she couldn't see anything. Not darkness. Not shadows. Just absence. She tried to move. But she didn't have arms. Didn't have legs. Didn't have a body at all. "What is this?" she whispered. But her voice didn't echo. Didn't travel. It just existed. And then they came. The voices. Hundreds of them. Layered. Overlapping. Broken. "It hurts. I can't get out. Please don't let it see me. I don't want to remember anymore." Zara's mind reeled. "No," she whispered. Because she understood instantly. This wasn't just a place. This was them. All of them. Trapped. Alive. Remembering. Forever. "I'm here," Zara said desperately. "I'm here with you." The voices shifted. Not calmer. Not relieved. Just aware of her now. "Another one. It took you too. You shouldn't have come." Zara felt something twist inside her. "I didn't come to stay," she said. "I came to end this." Silence. Then, a different voice. Clearer. Closer. "You can't." Zara turned. Or tried to. And suddenly, she could see. Not clearly, but enough. Shapes forming in the void. Figures. Children. Dozens of them. Standing. Floating. Watching her. Daniel stepped forward. Or what remained of him. His form flickered. Unstable. Like a broken memory trying to hold itself together. "You came anyway," he said softly. Zara felt something tighten in her chest. Even though she didn't have one. "I had to," she said. Daniel shook his head. "It doesn't matter." Zara stepped closer. "Yes, it does. I know what this thing is now." "No," Daniel interrupted. His voice sharper now. "You don't." The space around them shifted. The void rippled. And suddenly, they were somewhere else. A room. Small. Dimly lit. A child's bedroom. Zara froze. Because she recognized it. "Yours," Daniel said quietly. Zara's breath caught. She looked around slowly. The toys. The bed. The window. Everything exactly as it had been. "No." Her voice trembled. "This isn't real." Daniel stepped closer. "It is here." Zara turned toward the doorway. The hallway beyond it stretched into darkness. And at the end of it, something moved. Zara's chest tightened. "I've seen this before." "Yes," Daniel said. "You're about to understand it." The figure stepped into view. The same shape. The same presence. But now, Zara could see more. Not just faces. Not just shadows. But structure. Form. Something beneath it all. It wasn't one thing. It was many. Layered together. Stacked. Built. Zara's eyes widened. "No." Daniel nodded slowly. "It's not a creature." Zara's voice dropped to a whisper. "It's a collection." The room trembled. The walls flickering. "It didn't exist before them," Zara continued. "It became this because of them." The truth hit her like a shockwave. All those children. All those fears. All those memories. They hadn't just been taken. They had been used. To build it. "It feeds on fear," Zara said. "But it also needs it to survive." Daniel's expression darkened. "And now you're here too." Zara looked at her hands. Or what felt like her hands. Flickering. Unstable. Changing. She was becoming part of it. Piece by piece. "No," she whispered. "I won't let that happen." The entity stepped closer in the doorway. And this time, it spoke. "You already have." The room shattered. Exploding into fragments of memory. Voices screaming. Images collapsing in on themselves. Zara fell. Or felt like she was falling. Through layers of thoughts that weren't hers. Through memories she had never lived. Until she hit something. Hard. Silence. Then a voice. "Soft. Close. You're in the center now." Zara opened her eyes again. And this time, she saw it clearly. A core. At the heart of everything. A single memory. The first one. The moment it all began. Zara stepped closer. Her instincts screaming at her to stop. But she didn't. Because she knew. This was the key. She reached out. And touched it. And suddenly, she wasn't Zara anymore. She was someone else. A child. Alone. Afraid. Standing in a dark hallway. And something was watching her. Not as a monster. Not as a shadow. But as something far more terrifying. A reflection. Zara gasped, understanding crashing into her all at once. It's not an entity. Her voice broke. It's what we become when fear is left behind. The voices around her screamed. The entire space trembled violently, because she had finally understood the truth. And now, she had to decide what to do with it. Zara didn't pull her hand away, even as the memory burned through her. Even as the voices around her screamed louder. She held on, because now, she finally understood. This thing, this entity, was never a creature. It was a result, a consequence, a place where fear didn't disappear, but stayed, grew, evolved. It's us, she whispered. The core pulsed beneath her hand. Reacting, listening. It's what happens when no one listens, she continued. When fear gets buried, ignored, forgotten. Her voice shook. It doesn't die. It becomes this. The space around her trembled violently. The voices rising. Chaotic now. Unstable. You weren't collecting them, Zara said, her voice gaining strength. You were growing. The darkness shifted. The entity reacting to her realization. You needed more, she said. More fear, more memories, more minds. We needed to exist. The voice echoed everywhere at once. Not defensive. Not angry. Just certain. Zara closed her eyes. And now I know how to stop you. The moment she said it, everything went still. Too still. When she opened her eyes again, she wasn't alone. The children stood around her. Dozens of them. Daniel at the front. All silent. All watching. You shouldn't do this, Daniel said quietly. Zara met his gaze. I have to. He shook his head. If you destroy it, we go too. The words hit harder than anything before. Zara felt the weight of them immediately. Her chest tightening. Her resolve faltering for just a second. All of you, she asked. Daniel nodded. This is the only place we exist now. Zara looked around. At the faces. The fear. The pain. The endless repetition of their worst moments. This isn't living, she said softly. It's not dying either, Daniel replied. Silence fell between them. And that was the problem. They weren't alive. They weren't free. They were trapped. And if she ended this, she would free them. But at a cost. Zara clenched her fists. Her mind racing. Her heart pulling in two directions. Why didn't you fight it? She asked suddenly. Daniel's expression darkened. We tried. Zara stepped closer. Then help me. The children shifted uneasily. Whispers spreading through them. Fear rising again. It will hurt, one of them said. It always hurts, another added. Zara nodded slowly. I know. She turned back to the core. The first memory. The origin of everything. If this is where it started, she said, then this is where it ends. She reached forward again. But this time, not to observe. To change it. The moment her hand touched the memory again, everything snapped. She was back in the hallway. Not watching. Living it. 8 years old. Small. Afraid. Alone. The figure stood at the end of the hallway. Just like before. Waiting. Zara's child self trembled. Frozen in place. But this time, Zara was there too. Standing beside her younger self. She looked down at the child version of herself. At the fear in her eyes. The silence in her throat. And she understood the moment perfectly now. This was where everything had gone wrong. She knelt down. Placed a hand on her younger self's shoulder. It's okay, she whispered. The child flinched. Turned to look at her. Eyes wide with confusion. You can see me, the little girl whispered. Zara smiled softly. Yes. The figure in the hallway shifted. Reacting. Zara ignored it. Focused only on the child. You don't have to stay quiet, she said gently. The girl shook her head. It told me not to tell. Zara's expression hardened. It lied. The shadows pulsed violently. The entity resisting. Zara took the child's hand. You can speak, she said. You can tell someone. The girl hesitated. Trembling. Then, I'm scared, she whispered. The moment the words left her mouth, everything broke. The hallway shattered. The figure screamed, a sound unlike anything human. The darkness around them cracked, splintering, collapsing. Back in the void, the entity convulsed, its form unraveling, the voices screaming. No! It's breaking. Zara stood at the center, holding on to the memory, holding on to the truth. You don't survive silence, she said. You survive by being heard. The core cracked, light spilling through it, blinding. The children around her began to fade, one by one, their forms dissolving into the light. Daniel looked at her one last time, not afraid anymore, not trapped. Thank you, he said softly. Zara's eyes filled. I'm sorry, she whispered. He smiled faintly, then disappeared. The entity let out one final, broken scream, and collapsed completely. Everything went white, and Zara fell into silence. At first, there was only light, not the harsh kind, not blinding, just endless, soft, quiet. Zara didn't know if she was alive, didn't know if she was dead, didn't know if she was anything at all. She tried to move, and this time, she could. Her fingers twitched first, then her arms, then her breath. Sharp, sudden, painful. Zara gasped. Air rushed into her lungs like it had been waiting years to return. Her eyes snapped open. Darkness, real darkness, not the empty void from before. A ceiling, familiar, cracked in the same place she remembered. Her childhood home. Zara bolted upright, coughing hard, clutching her chest as if making sure her heart was still there. It was, beating fast, wild, alive. I'm here, she whispered. Her voice sounded normal, human, not layered, not broken, just hers. Silence filled the room. No whispers, no breathing behind her, no presence. Zara swung her legs off the bed slowly, every movement cautious, measured, waiting for something to be wrong. But nothing was. The air felt empty, for the first time in days. No, for the first time in years. She felt alone. Zara stood and walked toward the hallway. The same hallway, the same one where it had all begun. Her footsteps echoed softly. She reached the end, and stopped. Nothing. No figure. No shadow. No presence waiting for her. Just a wall. Zara let out a slow breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. It's over, she said quietly. The words felt fragile, like they might break if she believed them too quickly. But the silence remained. Still, unchanging. She turned and walked back into the bedroom. The broken mirror still lay scattered across the floor. But now, it was just glass. No reflections moving on their own. No whispers hiding inside it. Just her. Zara knelt slowly and picked up a shard. Her reflection stared back at her. Tired. Pale. But whole. She waited. For it to blink out of sync. For it to smile. For it to speak. But it didn't. Zara exhaled. A real one this time. Days passed. Then weeks. The investigation closed quietly. No official explanation. No clear answers. Just a series of unexplained deaths, filed away like so many others. But Zara knew the truth. And more importantly, she knew it was over. Or at least, that's what she told herself. She returned to work. Took on new cases. Normal ones. Real ones. The kind that made sense. And for a while, everything was quiet. Until the dreams started. At first, they were harmless. Fragments. Echoes. Memories of what had happened. But then, they changed. Zara stood in the hallway again. Not her childhood home this time. Somewhere else. Somewhere unfamiliar. And at the end of it, a child. Standing alone. Afraid. Zara stepped forward slowly, her heart pounding, because she already knew what this was. The child turned. Eyes wide. Tears on their face. Can you see it too? The child whispered. Zara froze. A cold feeling spreading through her chest. Because behind the child, something moved. Not the same as before. Not as large. Not as formed. But there. Faint. Watching. Zara's breath caught. No, she whispered. The dream shattered. She woke up gasping. Sweat clinging to her skin. heart racing. Her room was dark, silent, but something felt off. Zara sat up slowly, her eyes adjusting to the darkness, and then she saw it. On her desk, her phone. The screen was lit. One new notification. A voicemail. No timestamp. No number. Zara stared at it, her chest tightening. No. Her hand moved toward it, slowly, like she already knew what she would hear. She pressed play. Static. Then, a voice. Small. Afraid. I saw it. Zara's breath stopped. It told me not to tell. Her hand trembled violently now. But I think it knows you can hear me. The line went silent. Zara sat there, frozen, because she understood. She hadn't ended it. She had changed it. The entity was gone. But what created it wasn't. Fear. Silence. Forgotten truths. They still existed. And as long as they did, something would always take shape. Maybe not the same. Maybe not as powerful. But something. Zara looked at the phone again. At the message. At the voice of another child. Standing at the edge of the same darkness she once faced. This time, she didn't hesitate. She picked up her keys, her gun, and headed for the door. Because now, she knew her role. Not a victim. Not a survivor. Something else. A listener. A witness. The one person who could stop it, before it began again. As she stepped out into the night, the city lights flickered faintly in the distance. And somewhere, a child wasn't alone anymore, but something else. Was still listening too. Story 2. At 2:17 a.m. Maya Khan's phone lit up. She wasn't supposed to be awake. Her room was dark, quiet, the kind of silence that makes even small sounds feel loud. Her parents asleep. Her younger brother across the hall. Everything normal. Except for one thing. Her phone. Buzzing. Again. And again. Maya groaned, reaching blindly across her bed until her fingers brushed against the screen. She squinted. A message. From an unknown number. No name. No profile picture. Just a single text. You shouldn't have left me. Maya frowned. What? She whispered. She blinked, trying to wake herself up. Maybe it was a wrong number. A prank. Something stupid. Her thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Then she typed. Who is this? The reply came instantly. Too fast. You know who I am. A chill ran down her spine. No, I don't, she muttered. She checked the number again. Still unknown. No saved contact. Then another message appeared. You were the last one to see me. Maya sat up slowly, her sleepiness gone now, replaced by something sharper. Unease. That's not funny, she typed. 3 dots appeared. Typing. Stopping. Typing again. Then, look outside. Maya froze. Her curtains were half open. The street outside dimly lit by a flickering lamp. She stared at the window. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. This is stupid, she whispered. But her body didn't believe it. Slowly, she turned her head. And looked. The street was empty. No cars. No people. Just the weak glow of the street light. And the shadows it cast. Maya exhaled sharply. Yeah, very funny. She grabbed her phone again. There's nothing there. A pause. Then, you didn't look properly. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? She typed. No response. Just silence. Maya waited. 1 minute. 2. 3. Nothing. Okay, I'm blocking this, she said under her breath. She tapped the number. Opened the options. But before she could press block, another message came through. Check your gate. Maya's breath caught. Because now, this wasn't random anymore. Whoever this was, they knew where she lived. Her heart began to pound. No, she whispered. She stood up slowly, her legs unsteady. This is just someone messing with me, she said. But her voice didn't sound convinced. She moved toward her door, opened it quietly. The hallway was dark, silent. She stepped out, each footstep careful, measured, down the stairs, past the living room, toward the front door. Her hand hovered over the handle. She hesitated. Then, she unlocked it. The door creaked open. Cool night air rushed in. Maya stepped outside, Her eyes scanned the street again. Still empty. Then, she turned toward the gate. And froze. Because something was there. A shape. Lying on the ground just beyond the metal bars. Maya's breath caught in her throat. No. She stepped closer. Slowly. Her hands trembling. And then she saw it clearly. A phone. Lying face up on the pavement. Its screen glowing. Maya's heart pounded harder. She reached through the bars. Picked it up. The screen was already unlocked. A messaging app open. A conversation. With her. Maya's blood ran cold. Because the messages were the same ones she had just received. Same words. Same timing. But from the other side. Her hands shook violently now. This isn't possible, she whispered. Then she saw the contact name at the top. And her world stopped. Ariba Malik. Maya staggered back. Because Ariba Malik had been missing for 3 days. And just hours ago, her body had been found. Dead. Maya dropped the phone like it had burned her. No. Her mind raced. This couldn't be real. It couldn't. Her own phone buzzed again. Still in her hand. She looked down slowly. Another message. From the unknown number. Now you remember me. Maya's breathing turned shallow. Because she did remember. Ariba. Her classmate. Her friend. The last person she had seen. The night she disappeared. And the one thing Maya had told the police. The one thing she had been sure about. Was a lie. Her phone buzzed again. One final message. Tell them what really happened. Maya's hands trembled. Because deep down, she knew. If she didn't, whatever was texting her, wasn't going to stop. Maya didn't sleep. Not even for a second. She sat on the edge of her bed, her phone clutched tightly in both hands, staring at the last message over and over again. Tell them what really happened. The words didn't change. But somehow, they felt heavier each time she read them. Outside, the sky slowly turned from black to gray. Morning crept in like nothing had happened. Like the world hadn't shifted in the middle of the night. But for Maya, everything had changed. Because now she knew one thing for certain. Ariba wasn't gone. Or at least, something connected to her wasn't. Her phone buzzed again. Maya flinched violently. She looked down. No new message. Just the same thread. Waiting. Like it knew she would come back to it. Maya swallowed hard. Then, slowly, she opened the chat again. Her own messages stared back at her. Who is this? There's nothing there. And then the replies. Cold. Certain. You know who I am. Look outside. Now you remember me. Maya's chest tightened. I didn't do anything, she whispered. But the words felt hollow. Because that wasn't entirely true. Her mind drifted back. 3 nights ago. The last time she had seen Ariba alive. They had been together after school. Walking home. Talking about nothing important. Laughing. Everything normal. Until they reached the shortcut. The narrow road behind the abandoned construction site. A place everyone used. Even though they probably shouldn't. I'll go this way, Ariba had said. Maya remembered hesitating. Are you sure? She had asked. Ariba smiled. Relax. It's faster. And then, she had walked away. Into the dark path. And Maya had let her go. Maya squeezed her eyes shut. I didn't know, she whispered. But the memory didn't stop there. Because there was something else. Something she hadn't told the police. Something she had buried. She had heard something. A sound. Ariba's voice. Calling out. Maya's eyes snapped open. Her breathing quickened. I should have gone back. But she hadn't. She had walked home. Pretended she didn't hear it. Told herself it was nothing. And now, Ariba was dead. Her phone buzzed. This time, a new message. You left me there. Maya's stomach dropped. I didn't know what to do, she whispered, her voice shaking. The reply came instantly. You knew enough. Tears filled her eyes. I was scared. A pause. Then, so was I. The words hit harder than anything else. Because they weren't angry. They were hurt. Maya stood up suddenly. I'm going back, she said out loud. Her voice trembling but firm. I'm going back there. The phone didn't respond. But somehow, she felt like it was waiting. By afternoon, the sky had turned dull and heavy. clouds covering the sun, the air thick with the promise of rain. Maya stood at the edge of the construction site. Yellow police tape still hung loosely across the entrance, flapping slightly in the wind. Her heart pounded as she ducked under it, stepping into a place she had avoided for 3 days. The shortcut. It looked different now. Not just empty, but wrong, like something had been disturbed, and never settled again. Maya walked slowly, each step heavier than the last, her eyes scanning everything. The broken fence, the piles of concrete, the dark corners where shadows lingered longer than they should. "This is where," she whispered. Her voice trailed off, because she didn't want to finish the sentence. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. "Keep walking." Maya's throat went dry. "You're here," she whispered. No reply. She kept moving, deeper into the site, until she reached it. The spot where they had found Ariba. Maya stopped. Her entire body tensed, because something felt wrong. Not empty, not abandoned. Watched. Maya turned slowly, her eyes scanning the area. Nothing. No one. But the feeling didn't go away. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. Turn around. Her breath caught. "I don't want to play this anymore," she whispered. But her body didn't listen. Slowly, she turned, and froze. Because this time, there was something there. At the far end of the site, near the broken fence, a figure, standing still, watching her. Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. "Who's there?" she shouted. No answer. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there. Maya took a step back, her breath quickening. "This isn't real," she whispered. But even as she said it, the figure lifted its hand, slowly, and pointed at her. Maya stumbled back. Her phone slipped from her hand, falling to the ground. The screen lit up as it hit. Another message. "You're not alone anymore." Maya looked up again, but the figure was gone. Just empty space. Silence. Her breathing turned ragged, her mind racing, because now she knew something she hadn't wanted to admit before. This wasn't just messages. This wasn't just guilt. Something had followed her. From that night. From that place. And whatever it was, it knew the truth. Maya didn't run. Not this time. Even as her legs trembled. Even as every instinct screamed at her to get away. She forced herself to stay. The empty construction site stretched around her. Silent. Still. Like nothing had ever happened there. But she knew better now. Her phone lay on the ground at her feet. Screen still glowing. "You're not alone anymore." Maya swallowed hard, then bent down slowly, and picked it up. A reflection flickered faintly on the cracked screen. Pale. Shaken. "This ends today," she whispered. Her voice was weak, but there was something else beneath it now. Resolve. Because running hadn't worked. Ignoring it hadn't worked. And whatever this was, it wasn't going to stop. Not until she told the truth. The police station felt colder than usual. Or maybe it was just her. Maya sat in a hard plastic chair outside the same office she had been in 3 days ago. The same place where she had lied. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, fingers digging into her skin. "You can still leave," a voice in her head whispered. But another voice, quieter, stronger, answered back. "No more lies." The door opened. Detective Farhan stepped out, tall, serious, eyes that missed very little. He looked at her, surprised. "Maya." She stood up quickly. "I need to talk to you." Something in her tone made him pause. Then he nodded. "Come in." The office felt smaller than she remembered, the walls closing in. Or maybe it was just the weight of what she was about to say. Farhan sat across from her, leaning forward slightly. "What is it?" he asked. Maya hesitated. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. Then, she spoke. "I lied." The words hung in the air. Farhan didn't react immediately, but his expression shifted. Sharper now. Focused. "About what?" Maya took a shaky breath. "That night, when Ariba disappeared." Her voice trembled. "I didn't just leave." Farhan's eyes narrowed slightly. "What do you mean?" Maya looked down at her hands. "I heard her." Silence. "She called out," Maya continued. "She sounded scared, like something was wrong." Her throat tightened. I stopped walking. Farhan leaned forward. And then, Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. I didn't go back. The words felt like a confession, like something breaking open. I just kept walking, she said. I told myself it was nothing, that I was imagining it. Her eyes filled with tears. But I wasn't. Farhan studied her carefully, his expression unreadable. Why didn't you tell us this before? He asked. Maya hesitated. Because I was scared, she admitted. And now? She looked up at him. Now I'm more scared not to. The room fell silent. Farhan leaned back slightly, processing. Then he nodded once. Okay, he said. We'll check the area again. The sight looked even worse the second time. More officers. More tape. More eyes searching for something that might have been missed. Maya stood near the edge, watching, waiting. Her phone felt heavy in her pocket, like it was listening. Farhan approached her after a while. There's something you need to see, he said. Her stomach dropped. What is it? He didn't answer, just gestured for her to follow. They walked deeper into the site, past the spot where Ariba had been found, further than before, until they reached the broken fence. The same place Maya had seen the figure. Farhan stopped, pointed to the ground. Right here, he said. Maya looked down, and felt her breath leave her body, because there were marks. Deep, dragged, like something heavy had been pulled across the dirt. This wasn't here before, Farhan said. Maya shook her head slowly. No. Her mind raced. This didn't match. It didn't fit the story they had been told. Farhan crouched down. There's more, he said. He pointed again. This time, at something else. Footprints. But not just one set. Multiple. Overlapping. Confusing. Maya frowned. That doesn't make sense, she whispered. Farhan nodded. Exactly. Her phone buzzed. Maya froze. Slowly, she pulled it out. A new message. They are looking in the wrong place. Her heart skipped. What? Farhan looked at her. What is it? Maya hesitated, then showed him the screen. He frowned. Who's sending this? Maya swallowed hard. I think. Her voice shook. I think it's Ariba. Farhan stared at her, for a moment, like he didn't know how to respond. Then, he shook his head. That's not possible. Maya didn't argue, because she already knew that, but it didn't change anything. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Tell him to check the basement. Maya's blood ran cold. Basement? She whispered. Farhan frowned. There is no basement here. Maya looked at the message again, then back at him. It says there is. Silence. The wind picked up slightly, rustling the tape. Farhan exhaled slowly, then turned to one of the officers nearby. Search the area again, he called out. Check for any underground access, anything that looks hidden. Maya's heart pounded, because now, this wasn't just her fear anymore. It was leading them somewhere, somewhere real. Minutes passed. Then, a shout. Sir! Maya's head snapped toward the sound. One of the officers stood near a pile of debris, pulling something aside. A metal hatch, half buried, hidden. Farhan's expression darkened. Get it open. Maya's breath quickened, her hands trembling again, because deep down, she already knew. Whatever was down there was the truth. The hatch creaked as it opened. A rush of cold air escaped from below. Dark, heavy. Farhan grabbed a flashlight, shined it down into the darkness, and froze. Maya's voice barely came out. What is it? Farhan didn't answer right away, because what he was seeing didn't match the story, didn't match anything. Finally, he spoke. There's more than one. Maya's heart stopped. What? Farhan turned to look at her, his face pale, grim. There's more than one body. For a moment, no one moved. The words hung in the air like something unreal. There's more than one body. Maya felt her knees weaken. Her vision blurred slightly as the meaning sank in. More than one. This wasn't just Ariba. Whatever had happened here, it had happened before. Back up, Farhan ordered sharply, his voice cutting through the shock. Officers moved quickly, securing the area around the hatch. Flashlights flicked on. Gloves snapped into place. Maya stood frozen at the edge, unable to look away, unable to move closer. Her phone buzzed. She flinched, slowly pulling it out. A new message. I wasn't the first. Maya's throat tightened. I know, she whispered. Her hands trembled as she typed back. How many are there? The reply came slower this time. Like whatever was answering her wasn't alone anymore. 3 dots. Appearing. Disappearing. Then finally, more than they ever reported. A chill crawled down Maya's spine. Down in the pit, officers carefully descended one by one, the beam of their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Farhan followed last. Maya hesitated, standing at the edge of the open hatch. Every instinct told her not to go down there, but something stronger pulled her forward. The truth, and the voices that wouldn't let her walk away again. I'm coming down, she said. One of the officers looked up. You shouldn't. I have too, Maya interrupted. Her voice was steady now, more than she felt. Farhan glanced up at her, studying her for a moment. Then he nodded once. Careful. The ladder creaked under her weight, each step down colder than the last. The air thick, damp, heavy with something she didn't want to name. When her feet finally touched the ground, Maya froze. The smell hit her first. Rotten. Stale. Wrong. She covered her mouth instinctively, her eyes adjusting slowly to the darkness. And then, she saw it. Not just one body. 3, lying side by side, covered partially with dirt. Hidden, but not well enough. Maya staggered back. No. Her voice broke. Because one of them, she recognized. Samina. The name slipped out before she could stop it. Farhan turned sharply. You know her? Maya nodded slowly. She went missing last year. Her voice trembled. They said she ran away. Silence fell. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Because now, that story didn't hold anymore. Her phone buzzed again. Maya looked down. Another message. But this one was different. Not from the same number. A new contact. No name. Just a message. He told me not to scream. Maya's breath caught. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Another message followed immediately. But I did. Maya's chest tightened. Farhan, she whispered. He looked at her. What is it now? She turned the phone toward him. He read the messages, his expression darkening. How many numbers are texting you? Maya swallowed hard. I don't know. Another buzz. Another message. This time, I tried to run. And then another. He was faster. Maya's breathing became shallow. They're all here, she whispered. Farhan frowned. What do you mean? Maya looked around. At the bodies. At the darkness surrounding them. They're not just messages, she said. They are them. The lights flickered. Just for a second. But enough. Enough to make everyone notice. Did you see that? One officer said. Farhan turned sharply. Stay focused, he snapped. But his voice wasn't as steady as before. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another message. This time from Ariba. Is still here. Maya's blood ran cold. Her head snapped up. What? Farhan looked at her. What does it say? Maya's voice shook. She says, is still here. Silence. Then, a sound. Faint. Above them. Footsteps. Everyone froze. Farhan raised his hand. Quiet. The footsteps moved slowly. Deliberate. Circling the hatch. Maya's heart pounded violently. Because suddenly, everything made sense. This wasn't over. It had never been over. The person who did this was still out there. And now, he knew they were here. The footsteps stopped. Right above them. Maya's phone buzzed one last time. She looked down. Ariba's message. Don't let him leave. A shadow passed over the opening, blocking the light. And then, the hatch slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. Someone screamed. Farhan shouted orders. Flashlights flickered wildly. And somewhere above them, footsteps ran. Fast. Desperate. Trying to escape. Maya's hands shook violently. Because now she knew the truth. Not just about Ariba. Not just about the others. But about what came next. This wasn't just about listening anymore. This was about stopping him. Darkness swallowed them whole. The hatch had slammed shut so hard it echoed like a gunshot. For a second, no one moved. Then chaos erupted. Lights. Farhan barked. Flashlights flickered wildly, beams cutting through the suffocating black. Someone rushed to the ladder. "It's locked from the outside," an officer shouted. Maya's chest tightened, her breathing quick and shallow. "He's trying to trap us," she whispered. Above them, footsteps thundered. Fast. Panicked. Running. Farhan's voice snapped through the fear. "Break it open. Now." 2 officers grabbed the ladder, climbing up, slamming their shoulders into the hatch. Once. Twice. The metal groaned, but didn't give. Maya stood frozen below, her phone trembling in her hand. Buzz. She looked down. A message. Ariba is heading toward the back exit. Maya's eyes widened. "There's another way out," she shouted. Farhan turned sharply. "Where?" Maya scanned the messages. Another one appeared. "Unknown, left side, behind the broken wall." "They are telling me," Maya said quickly. "Left side, there's another exit." Farhan didn't hesitate. "You, come with me," he ordered 2 officers. They rushed into the darkness, following Maya as she moved ahead, guided not by sight, but by something else. "Buzz. Faster." "I'm trying," Maya whispered under her breath. Her heart pounded violently, her feet slipping on uneven ground. The darkness felt alive, closing in. Then, a shape emerged ahead. A wall. Broken. Just like the message said. "There." Maya pointed. A narrow opening led out. Cold air rushed in from outside. Farhan moved first. Gun drawn. "Stay behind me." They stepped through, and into the open. The sky had turned darker. Clouds heavy above. The air thick with tension. But the space around them. Empty. "No," Maya whispered. Farhan scanned the area. "He couldn't have gone far," he muttered. Then, Maya's phone buzzed again. She looked down. "Ariba is close." Another message appeared instantly. "Unknown, you've seen him before." Maya froze. "What?" Her mind raced. Seen him before? That didn't make sense. Or did it? Faces flashed through her memory. People she knew. Neighbors. Teachers. Strangers. Her breathing grew heavier. "Think," she whispered to herself. "Buzz. He watches every day." Maya's eyes widened. Every day. Someone familiar. Someone close. And then, it hit her. Her blood ran cold. "No." Farhan looked at her. "What is it?" Maya's voice shook. I know who it is." Before she could explain, a sound cut through the air. A car engine. Starting. All heads snapped toward it. At the far end of the road, a white van. Old. Dirty. The engine roared to life. "He's getting away," one officer shouted. Farhan reacted instantly. "Move." They ran. Maya's legs burned as she pushed forward. The van lurched forward, turning sharply onto the road. "Stop." Farhan shouted. Gun raised. A warning shot cracked through the air, but the van didn't stop. It sped up, disappearing down the street. "Damn it!" Farhan cursed. An officer grabbed the radio. Suspect fleeing in a white van, heading north. Maya slowed to a stop, her chest heaving, her hands shaking. "He can't get away," she whispered. "Buzz." She looked down. A new message. "Ariba, he won't." Another followed. "We won't let him." Maya's breath caught. "We?" Her phone screen flickered. Then, dozens of notifications appeared at once. Different numbers. Different messages. All at the same time. "We see him. We know where he's going. Don't lose him." Maya stared at the screen in shock. "They're all helping," she whispered. Farhan looked at her. "What?" Maya held up the phone. "They know where he's going." Farhan hesitated. Just for a second. Then, "Get in the car." Sirens screamed as they sped through the streets. Maya sat in the passenger seat. Phone clutched tightly. Message after message guiding them. "Left." He turned left. "Take the next turn." Maya shouted. Farhan followed without question. the gap between them and the van closing. Rain began to fall. Light at first, then heavier. The road slick, dangerous, but they didn't slow down. They couldn't. There! Maya pointed suddenly. Ahead, the white van, swerving slightly, trying to escape. Farhan pressed harder on the accelerator. We've got him. The van turned sharply into a narrow street. A dead end. He's trapped, Maya whispered. The van screeched to a halt. Doors flew open. A man jumped out, running. Fast. Farhan slammed the brakes. Stay here, he ordered. But Maya didn't listen. She opened the door and ran after him. Her heart pounded violently, her mind racing, because as she got closer, she saw his face, and everything inside her went cold. Because she did know him. He wasn't a stranger. He wasn't someone distant. He was someone she had seen. Almost every day. Her school security guard. Maya stopped dead in her tracks. No. The man turned briefly, his eyes locking onto hers. And in that moment, she saw it. Recognition. And something worse. A smile. He knew she knew. And he wasn't afraid anymore. The rain came down harder now. Cold. Sharp. Relentless. It soaked through Maya's clothes within seconds. But she didn't feel it. Because all she could see, all she could focus on, was him. Standing at the end of the narrow street. Breathing heavily. Watching her. The school security guard. The man who opened the gates every morning. Who smiled at students. Who greeted parents. Who knew everyone's names. Stop. Farhan shouted behind her. But the man didn't run this time. He didn't try to escape. Instead, he slowly raised his hands. Almost casually. Like he had been expecting this moment. Maya's heart pounded violently. No, she whispered. Her voice barely audible over the rain. It can't be you. The man tilted his head slightly. A faint smile tugged at his lips. You finally figured it out, he said calmly. His voice. Normal. Too normal. Like this was just another conversation. Farhan approached cautiously. Gun still raised. Get on your knees, he ordered. The man chuckled softly. Is that really necessary? Now. Farhan snapped. For a moment, it looked like he might resist. Then slowly, he lowered himself to his knees. Rain dripping from his face. But the smile never left. Maya took a step forward, her hands trembling. Why? She asked. Her voice cracked. Why did you do it? The man looked at her. Really looked at her. And something in his expression shifted. Not guilt. Not fear. Recognition. I wondered when you'd come back, he said. Maya froze. What? His smile widened slightly. You heard her that night, didn't you? Maya's breath caught. You stopped walking. Her heart skipped. You almost turned around. The rain seemed louder now. You were so close. Maya shook her head. Stop. But he didn't. I was watching you, he continued. From right there. He nodded toward the darkness behind the broken fence. Maya's stomach twisted violently. You saw me, she whispered. He shrugged lightly. Not clearly, but I saw enough. Farhan stepped closer. Enough talking, he said firmly. But the man ignored him. His eyes still locked on Maya. You know what's interesting, he said. Maya didn't respond. You walked away, just like all the others. Her chest tightened. All the others. He nodded. They always hear something. His voice calm. Almost thoughtful. A sound. A voice. A chance to help. He leaned forward slightly. And they all make the same choice. Maya's hands clenched into fists. No. They leave. The words hit like a blow. They pretend they didn't hear. Stop it. Maya shouted, her voice breaking. But he just smiled. And then later, they regret it. Farhan grabbed him roughly. That's enough, he said sharply. But the man didn't resist. Didn't fight back. Because he didn't need to. He had already gotten inside her head. Maya staggered back slightly, her breathing uneven. Because a part of her, the part she didn't want to face, knew he was right. She had walked away. She had left Ariba there. Buzz. Her phone vibrated in her hand. Maya looked down. Ariba's message. Don't listen to him. Another followed instantly. This isn't your fault. Tears blurred Maya's vision. But it is, she whispered. The screen flickered again. More messages. Different numbers. Different voices. He lies. He wants you to break. Don't let him. Maya's grip tightened around the phone. Her breathing steadied slightly, because now she understood something. This wasn't just about guilt. This was about control, and he wasn't in control anymore. You think you're special, the man said suddenly. Maya looked up. His smile had faded now, replaced by something darker. You're not, he continued. You're just the one who came back. Farhan pulled him to his feet. You're done, he said. But the man shook his head slowly. No, he said quietly. I'm not. Before anyone could react, he moved. Fast. Too fast. He twisted suddenly, breaking free from Farhan's grip, reaching into his jacket. Gun, someone shouted. Time seemed to slow. Maya's heart stopped. The man pulled out a knife. Not a gun, but just as dangerous. He lunged forward, straight toward her. Maya froze, her body refusing to move, her mind screaming, but her legs locked in place. Then, buzz. Her phone vibrated violently, dozens of messages flashing at once. Move. Run. Now. Maya snapped out of it. At the last second, she stepped back. The knife missed her by inches. Farhan tackled the man from the side. They hit the ground hard. The knife clattered across the wet pavement. Officers rushed in, pinning him down, cuffing his hands behind his back. This time, he didn't smile. This time, he looked angry. Maya stood there, frozen, shaking, alive. Farhan stood up slowly, breathing heavily. It's over, he said. But Maya wasn't so sure, because as they dragged the man away, he turned his head slightly, looking at her one last time, and whispered, You still don't know everything. Maya's stomach dropped, because deep down, she knew he was right. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. Ariba's message. Is not the end. Another followed. There's more. Maya's hands trembled. What do you mean? She whispered. But the reply didn't come. Not this time. Only silence, and the sound of sirens fading into the distance, as the man who had done all of this was finally taken away. Or at least, that's what they thought. The rain didn't stop. Even hours later, it kept falling, like the sky itself refused to forget what had just happened. Maya sat in the back of the police car, silent, still, her hands wrapped tightly around her phone. The screen was dark now. No new messages. For the first time since it started, there was nothing. And somehow, that scared her more, because the silence didn't feel like peace. It felt like something waiting. At the station, everything moved fast. Officers rushing in and out, radios crackling, voices overlapping. The man, the security guard, was taken straight into interrogation. But Maya wasn't part of that. Not yet. She sat in the same chair as before. But this time, she wasn't the one hiding something. Or at least, she didn't think she was. Detective Farhan entered the room, his expression serious, more than usual. He closed the door behind him. We've identified him, he said. Maya looked up. His name is Rashid Karim. The name meant nothing to her. He's been working at your school for 5 years, Farhan continued. Maya nodded slowly. I've seen him every day. The thought made her stomach turn. Farhan studied her carefully. There's something else, he said. Maya's chest tightened. What? Farhan hesitated, like he was choosing his words carefully. His statement doesn't match the evidence. Maya frowned. What do you mean? Farhan leaned forward slightly. He's confessing, he said, but only to one murder. Maya's breath caught. Ariba? Farhan nodded. He claimed she was the only one. Maya shook her head immediately. No, that's not true. Her voice firm now. There were others. We know, Farhan said, but he's denying all of them. Maya's heart started pounding again. That doesn't make sense. Farhan didn't respond right away, because it didn't make sense to him either. They found 3 bodies, Maya said slowly, and is only admitting to one. Farhan nodded. There's more. Maya felt a chill run through her. The other 2, Farhan continued. They've been identified. Maya leaned forward slightly. Who are they? Farhan's voice lowered. Samina Qureshi and Hira Malik. Maya froze, her mind struggling to process the names. Samina went missing last year, she whispered. Farhan nodded. And Hira? Maya asked. Farhan's expression darkened. 3 years ago. The room went silent. 3 years. That didn't fit. That didn't match anything. But he's only been working at the school for 5, Maya started. 6, Farhan corrected. But that's not the problem. Maya looked at him. Then what was? Farhan exhaled slowly. The problem is, Hira wasn't taken from that site. Maya blinked. What? She disappeared from a completely different area. Maya's heart skipped. That's not possible. Farhan nodded. Exactly. Her phone buzzed. Both of them froze. Slowly, Maya pulled it out. A new message. Not from Ariba. Not from the others. A new number. He didn't take me. Maya's breath caught. Her hands trembling. She looked at Farhan. He didn't take her. Farhan frowned. What? Maya showed him the screen. Another message appeared instantly. Someone else did. The room seemed to shrink. The air heavier. Harder to breathe. No, Maya whispered. But the messages didn't stop. He found me after. He brought me there. Maya's heart pounded violently. Farhan. Her voice barely worked. There's more than one. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Farhan stared at the phone, his expression shifting slowly. From doubt to something else. Something darker. That's not possible, he said quietly. But this time, he didn't sound convinced. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another message. Ariba, we tried to tell you. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Why didn't you say it before? She whispered. The reply came slowly. Because he was listening. Maya froze, her head snapping up. What? Farhan looked at her sharply. What did it say? Maya's voice trembled. She said, he was listening. The room suddenly felt unsafe. Too quiet. Too still. Farhan stood up quickly. We need to check the interrogation room. They moved fast. Down the hallway. Past officers who didn't yet understand what was happening. When they reached the room, Farhan pushed the door open. And stopped. Maya stepped in behind him. Then froze. Because the chair was empty. The cuffs. Still attached. But open. The room was silent. Too silent. He was just here, one officer stammered. Farhan's voice turned sharp. Where is he? No answer. Maya's phone buzzed one more time. Slowly, she looked down. A message. From Ariba. He's not the one you should be afraid of. Maya's blood ran cold. Because now, everything was worse than she thought. The man they caught was never the only one. And the real question wasn't who killed them. It was, who else was still out there? The hallway felt longer than before. Too long. Every step echoed louder than it should have. Too loud. Maya stood frozen outside the empty interrogation room, her pulse hammering in her ears, her mind racing to catch up with what she had just seen. The chair, the open cuffs, gone. Rashid Karim had vanished. That's not possible, Farhan muttered. But no one answered him, because deep down, everyone in that hallway felt the same thing. Something was wrong. Not just procedurally, not just logically, something deeper, something that didn't follow rules anymore. Maya's phone buzzed. The sound made her flinch. Slowly, she pulled it out. A new message. Unknown number. Now you understand. Maya's breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the phone. Farhan. Her voice barely worked. He turned. What is it? She showed him the screen. He read the message. And for the first time, Maya saw it clearly. Fear. Real fear. Who is that? He asked. Maya shook her head slowly. I don't know. Another message came. He was just the beginning. Maya's heart dropped. No. Her voice was barely a whisper. The screen flickered again. Another message. You've been very helpful. Maya's stomach twisted violently. Helpful? Her mind raced. Everything she had done. Everything she had said. The messages. The directions. the way she had followed them. A cold realization began to form. No. Farhan stepped closer. What is it? Maya looked up at him, her face pale. What if? Her voice trembled. What if they weren't all from the victims? Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Farhan's expression hardened. You think someone else has been messaging you? Maya nodded slowly. I think. She swallowed hard. I think one of them isn't dead. Before Farhan could respond, her phone buzzed again. Another message. Smart girl. Maya's breath hitched. Her hands started shaking again. Who are you? She whispered. The reply came instantly. Someone who's been watching you for a very long time. The air in the hallway seemed to disappear. Maya couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Another message. Long before Ariba. Maya's vision blurred. Because that meant. This didn't start with Ariba. It didn't start with the construction site. It started with her. Why me? She whispered. The answer came slower this time. Like whoever was typing was enjoying it. Because you listen. Maya felt something inside her break. Because that was true. She had listened. She had followed the messages. She had trusted them. You used me, she said softly. A pause. Then, I guided you. Farhan stepped forward. Enough, he said firmly. Track the number. An officer nearby nodded quickly. Already moving. But Maya barely heard them. Because the messages kept coming. You helped me find him. Maya frowned. Find who? The reply came instantly. Rashid. Everything inside her went cold. You wanted him caught, she whispered. Another pause. Then. No. Maya's heart skipped. No. The next message appeared slowly. I wanted him exposed. Maya's mind raced. Why? This time, the response took longer. Long enough to feel deliberate. Calculated. Because he was getting careless. A chill crawled down her spine. Careless? He was going to get caught anyway, the message continued. And I don't work with amateurs. Maya felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her. This wasn't just someone watching. This wasn't just someone hiding. This was someone worse. You're the one who took the others, she whispered. The typing dots appeared. Stopped. Then started again. Some of them. Maya's breath caught. Her heart pounding violently. Where are you? She demanded. A pause. Then, closer than you think. At that exact moment, the lights flickered. Just like before. Once. Twice. Then steadied. Maya's head snapped up. Her eyes scanning the hallway. Every officer. Every face. Because now, she understood something terrifying. He wasn't just watching her from afar. He was here. In the same building. Her phone buzzed again. One final message. Turn around. Maya's body went rigid. Her breath caught in her throat. Slowly. Very slowly. She turned. And locked eyes with someone standing at the end of the hallway. An officer. Or at least, he was wearing the uniform. But his face. She didn't recognize it. He smiled. The same way Rashid had smiled. Calm. Knowing. And in that moment, Maya knew. She had just found the real killer. The hallway went silent. Not the kind of silence that comes from peace. The kind that comes before something breaks. Maya couldn't move. Couldn't blink. Her eyes were locked on him. The officer standing at the far end of the hallway. Everything about him looked normal. Uniform. Badge. Posture. But something was wrong. Something her body understood before her mind did. It was the way he stood. Too still. Too relaxed. Like he wasn't part of the chaos around him. Like he was watching a show he had already seen before. Maya's phone buzzed. Her hands trembled as she looked down. There you go. Her breath caught. Slowly, she lifted her gaze again. The man smiled. Not wide. Not exaggerated. Just enough. Enough to confirm it. That's him, Maya whispered. Farhan turned sharply. What? Maya pointed. Her finger shaking. At the end of the hallway. Farhan followed her gaze. His eyes narrowed slightly. The man noticed. Of course he did. And for a split second, his expression didn't change. Then he turned. And started walking away. He's moving, Maya said quickly. Farhan reacted instantly. Stop, he shouted. But the man didn't stop. He didn't run either. He just kept walking. Calm. Controlled. Like he knew exactly how much time he had. After him, Farhan ordered. Everything exploded into motion. Officers rushed forward. Boots pounding against the floor. Radios crackling. But the man, he didn't panic. Didn't speed up. Didn't look back. Maya followed. Her heart slamming violently against her ribs. Her mind screaming one thing over and over. Don't lose him. They turned the corner. The hallway ahead split into two directions. Left. Right. He was gone. Which way? Farhan demanded. Maya froze. Her chest tightening. Her eyes darting between both paths. Then, buzz. She looked down. A message. Right. Maya didn't hesitate. Right? She shouted. They ran. Faster. Harder. The hallway stretched endlessly ahead. Doors on both sides. Some open. Some closed. Every shadow felt alive. Every sound too loud. There, an officer shouted. At the far end. A door swinging shut. He's trying to get out. Farhan pushed forward. Reaching the door first. He slammed it open. Stairs. Leading down. Move. They rushed down. The echo of footsteps filling the stairwell. Louder. Closer. Then, a door burst open below. And slammed shut again. He's heading to the basement. Maya's breath hitched. Because something about that word, basement, made her stomach twist violently. They reached the bottom. Farhan threw the door open. Darkness. Cold. Familiar. Maya stopped. Her body going rigid. Because she recognized this place. Not exactly. But enough. Another underground space. Another place hidden beneath everything else. He planned this, she whispered. Farhan didn't respond. Because he was already moving. The basement stretched out in front of them. Dim lights flickering overhead. Long rows of storage rooms. Endless shadows. He's here somewhere, Farhan said quietly. Maya's phone buzzed again. She looked down. You're close. Her breath caught. Where are you? She whispered. No reply. Then, a sound. Soft. Behind them. Maya turned sharply. Too late. The lights went out. Complete darkness. Someone screamed. Footsteps scrambled. Chaos erupted again. Maya's heart pounded violently. Her breathing quick and shallow. She couldn't see anything. Couldn't hear anything clearly. Then, a voice. Right behind her. Soft. Calm. You shouldn't have come this far. Maya froze. Her blood turning to ice. Because she knew that voice. Not from memory. Not from real life. From the messages. Slowly. Very slowly. She turned. And in the faint emergency light, she saw him. Standing inches away. The man from the hallway. The real killer. His smile was gone now. Replaced by something colder. More honest. You're different from the others, he said quietly. Maya couldn't speak. Couldn't move. You listened, he continued. His voice steady. Interested. That made you useful. Maya swallowed hard. You killed them. He tilted his head slightly. Some of them, he corrected. Her chest tightened. Why? He smiled again. But this time, there was nothing human in it. Because I could. The words hit harder than anything else. No justification. No reason. Just choice. You're sick, Maya whispered. He shrugged slightly. And you're late. Her breath caught. Late. He leaned closer. Close enough that she could feel his breath. They've been trying to tell someone for years. His voice dropped. But no one ever listens. Maya's heart pounded violently. I did. He nodded slowly. Yes. A pause. That's why you're still alive. The words sent a chill down her spine. Because suddenly, she understood. This wasn't over. Not yet. Darkness pressed in from every side. Thick. Heavy. Suffocating. Maya could barely breathe. The emergency lights flickered weakly, casting broken shadows across the basement walls. And in front of her, him, the real killer, standing close enough to touch. You're still alive because you listened. His words echoed in her head, over and over again. Maya swallowed hard, her throat dry, her hands trembling at her sides. She forced herself to speak. You won't get away with this. The man smiled faintly. Not amused. Not impressed. Just certain. I already have, he said quietly. Behind her, she could hear movement. Officers trying to regroup in the darkness. Farhan shouting orders somewhere in the distance. But it all felt far away. Muted. Irrelevant. Because right now, it was just her. And him. You think this ends with me? He continued. Maya's chest tightened. It doesn't. Her phone buzzed violently. The sudden vibration made her flinch. She didn't want to look. But she had to. Slowly, she lifted the screen. Messages flooded in. Not one. Not two. Dozens. Don't let him speak. He lies. He'll try to break you. Ariba's name appeared among them. Maya, listen to us. Her breath caught. I am listening, she whispered. The killer's eyes flicked briefly to the phone. For the first time, his expression shifted. Not fear, but irritation. They're loud, aren't they? He said. Maya looked up. You can hear them. He tilted his head slightly. No, he said calmly. But I know they are there. A chill ran down her spine. I've seen it before, he continued. People like you. Maya's grip tightened around the phone. People like me? He nodded slowly. The ones who listen. A pause. They don't last long. Maya felt fear rise in her chest. But she forced it down. Because something had changed. The messages weren't chaotic anymore. They were focused. Guiding her. Helping her. Her phone buzzed again. Ariba. Behind him. Maya blinked. What? Another message. Look behind him. Slowly. Carefully. Maya lifted her gaze. Past him. Into the darkness behind him. At first, she saw nothing. Just shadows. Flickering light. Then, a shape. On the ground. Something metallic. Her heart skipped. The knife. The one he had dropped earlier. Her pulse quickened. Another message. You have one chance. Maya's breathing slowed. Her fear. Turning into something else. Focus. You're not as in control as you think, she said suddenly. The man frowned slightly. A crack in his composure. Oh. Maya took a small step forward. You made a mistake. He watched her closely now. Careful. Curious. I don't make mistakes, he said. Maya's phone buzzed again. Now. Everything slowed. The world narrowing to a single moment. A single choice. Maya moved. Fast. She lunged forward. Not away from him, but toward him. The man reacted instantly. Reaching for her. Grabbing her arm. But that's what she wanted. She twisted sharply. Dropping low. Her free hand reaching past him. Grabbing the knife from the ground. Gasps echoed in the darkness. The man's grip tightened. You think that will save you? He hissed. Maya's heart pounded violently. Her hand shaking. The knife cold in her grip. I'm not trying to save myself, she said. For a split second. He hesitated. And that was enough. Maya drove the knife forward. A sharp gasp. The man's grip loosened instantly. His eyes widening in shock. He staggered back, looking down at the wound. Then back at her. You. He tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Footsteps thundered closer. Lights flickered back on. Officers rushing in. Farhan at the front. They saw it instantly. The man. On the ground. Maya standing over him. The knife in her hand. Maya. Farhan shouted. She dropped the knife immediately. Her body trembling violently. Her breathing uneven. It's over, Farhan said, kneeling beside the man. Checking for a pulse. Then, a nod. Is done. Silence filled the basement. Heavy. Final. Maya staggered back slightly, her legs barely holding her up, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. Her phone buzzed one last time. She looked down. Ariba. Thank you. Tears filled Maya's eyes. Another message appeared. From a different number. Then another. And another. Thank you. You heard us. You didn't leave. Maya's vision blurred completely now. Because for the first time, the messages didn't feel heavy. They didn't feel desperate. They felt peaceful. The screen flickered softly, then went still. No more messages. No more voices. Just silence. Real silence. Days later, the story spread everywhere. 2 killers. One hidden in plain sight. Another hiding behind everyone else. But only one thing truly mattered. They were gone. Maya stood outside her house, the evening quiet around her, her phone resting in her hand. She hadn't received a single message since that night. Not one. She looked up at the sky, and for the first time in days, she felt something different. Relief. But just as she turned to go inside, her phone buzzed. Maya froze. Slowly, she looked down. A new message. Unknown number. Her heart started pounding again. Her hands trembling. She opened it. You still listening? Maya stared at the screen, her breath shallow, because deep down, she already knew the answer. She would always listen.